The other thing that's going on every day on OpenMinds.tv is UFO news. And the guy in the middle of the UFO news is this cool cat named Jason McClellan. And guess what? We have him here with us today. Jason, would you like to tell the dudes about some UFO news?
Yes, sir. Greetings,
All right.
Alejandro, and hello, everyone. This is your Open Minds UFO News Brief for Monday, December 12th, 2011. Footage recorded by NASA's Stereo spacecraft on December 1st shows Mercury being hit by a wave of electrical charged material emitted from the sun, known as a coronal mass ejection, or CME. And if you haven't seen the video, it's as cool as it sounds. But what has people talking about the video is a strange object near Mercury that is revealed by the CME blast. Some believe the CME blast revealed a cloaked UFO near the planet, but to get an official answer, MSNBC contacted scientists in the Solar Physics Branch at the United States Naval Research Laboratory, the NRL, who are responsible for analyzing data from the telescope camera that shot the December 1st footage. MSNBC reports that, according to Russ Howard, head scientist of the NRL group, and Nathan Rich, lead ground systems engineer, quote, "It is simply an artifact left over from the way raw H1 telescope data gets processed." The image processing is explained more in detail by MSNBC, and we have that detail on OpenMinds.tv in the news story we have about this, so you can read more about the details involved in it. But Nathan Rich basically explained that, quote, "When this averaging process is done between the previous day and the current day, there is a feature like a planet. This introduces dark negative artifacts in the background, where a planet was the previous day, which then shows up as bright areas in the enhanced image." According to Gizmodo, this particular video shows a 24-hour period captured on December 1st and consists of 36 frames in total. The strange object was also recorded by Stereo's twin satellite, HI-2. NASA and other scientists have used ghost images and image glitches to explain mysterious objects in space videos before, and that could certainly be the case with this video, but it's interesting. It's 24 hours. So the planet was probably there the previous day, as they stated, so it captures two images, but this other image that was captured when this blast goes by seems to be smaller, seems to have a sort of a defined shape, and some people, and I kind of agree, argue that it sort of looks like a Klingon bird of prey.
Oh,
from
wow.
Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of cool. So they think it's a cloaked Klingon bird of prey.
I couldn't make much out personally, so I don't know.
There's not a whole lot.
Yeah.
It's your mind going wild, and you start seeing what you want to see. You go, oh, I see it. Yeah, I can see it because I read somebody else say that they saw it. So, But it doesn't look like a planet, but it certainly could be. It's just, if it's what they say it is, it's just remnants of where a planet was. So light remains from a planet. It's not probably going to hold that sphere shape.
I can't help it. You're the one who brought up the Klingons.
Yes.
I thought the Klingons were on Uranus. I couldn't help it.
Okay, I'll give you that. That was fun. Well,
I think that comes from The Simpsons, actually.
I think it does. But while we're on the topic of Hollywood, let's talk about an article. You wrote this, Alejandro. Steven Spielberg recently revealed that his popular family-friendly alien film, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, was originally going to be an alien attack movie, telling the alleged horrific experience of a family in rural Kentucky supposedly harassed by aliens. Spielberg told Entertainment Weekly, quote, "It was going to be called Night Skies, based on a piece of UFO mythology, where a farm family reported little spindly gray aliens attacking their farm, even riding cows in the farmyard. This farm family basically huddled together for survival. It's a story that's well known in the world of ufology, and we based our script on that story." Spielberg says that the script was changed because he was able to talk Harrison Ford's girlfriend at the time, Melissa Matheson, into rewriting the screenplay, and that resulted in the development of the lovable character E.T. we all know today. The description of the not-so-lovable creatures that allegedly attacked the family in Kentucky resemble that of the mischievous little green man in the movie Gremlins, a movie also produced by Steven Spielberg. So, Alejandro, tell us a little more about this case in Kentucky.
Yeah, I wish I would have known when I wrote the piece on Spielberg for our magazine, because I didn't know this.
Right.
And I should have thought of it, because when you take the pictures that the witnesses had, or actually the Air Force drew from the witness accounts, and you put it next to a gremlin, they're exactly the same. And on OpenMinds.tv and also on UFODailyNews.com, we posted it with the picture so you can see that.
And it's really the only time that I know that I've seen another creature look like that. And you're right,
Yeah.
It's just like gremlins with the crazy ears going on.
The big ears, the little waist, the tiny little waist, but the bigger shoulders and the long arms with the claws. So they look exactly alike, and I never put the two together. And this was the case. It is a very famous case amongst ufologists because little green men, we've talked about this before because I wrote a story a few months ago. Little green men comes from this case in Hopkinsville. But it's interesting, that Spielberg didn't write the story for the Gremlins. It's something that he got from someone else, apparently. But obviously when they went to character design, he was heavily influenced by that. And obviously, as he says, he was influenced by that on E.T. Plus the story, even if they have an author bring them a story, they morph the story. And the story, these guys are mischievous little goofballs, which is exactly the Kentucky story. They didn't hurt anybody. Well, they were more dangerous in Gremlins. They didn't hurt anybody in the story in Kentucky in 1955, but they ran around and jumped around, and they were playing with these guys and being real crazy, touching, one guy's hair. So it's an interesting story. It's fairly credible. It's one of the only, if not the only, Blue Book case that has actual aliens, extraterrestrials in it. So it was important historically. And here again, it's evidence that Spielberg, another demonstration of how into this stuff he really is. So pretty cool.
Very cool. In other news, an Open Minds affiliate was recently told a story about a woman who witnessed a UFO crash in 1947. The investigator followed up on the story by tracking down and interviewing the witness. But after the interview, it was determined that the UFO encounter involved a landing rather than a crash. Josie Estrada, now 78 years old, lives in San Antonio, New Mexico. Her UFO encounter occurred in 1947 when she was 14 years old. It was a hot July afternoon, and Estrada had been out herding goats on the mesa. At approximately 2 p.m., she saw something very bright and shiny out of the corner of her eye. When she turned toward the object, she saw the sun reflecting off something disc-shaped. She described the object as being so shiny that it resembled a mirror. Estrada said the UFO descended straight down from the sky until it landed approximately 1/4 mile away from her position. To her, the object appeared to be the size of a house, or perhaps slightly a little smaller. She was fascinated and curious, so she excitedly rode her horse at a gallop toward the object. When she approached the bright object, it silently ascended, then shot straight up and disappeared. Other UFOs, of course, were reported in New Mexico in 1947, including the famous Roswell crashes.
Yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is someone who just emailed you or something?
This is somebody that there were some people doing an investigation in New Mexico, and they heard a story about this woman.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's where they heard that it was a UFO crash that had happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, to find out more information, they tracked this woman down and actually went and spoke with her about her encounter.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
So, actual UFO landing, and again, 1947.
Yeah, interesting.
Kind of cool. Well, this was a big story today. Hundreds of pro-democracy protesters in Moscow reportedly witnessed a UFO in the sky above them on Saturday. According to the Telegraph, the silent object was clearly not a helicopter and was described as having pulsating colored lights and had, quote, 5 extended tendrils or pylons emanating from the body of the vehicle. The crowd of people protesting against recent election results allegedly climbed trees to better observe the UFO that seemed to be observing the 25,000 protesters. And there's a video of this. We have it on OpenMinds.tv. And to me, I have to say it does look like some sort of either police drone, which are commonly used now. A lot of police departments around the world use these things. And again, as we've talked about a lot, there are a lot of remote-controlled toys now that people are using that light up and things. So could be either one of those. It doesn't look very mysterious. It looks more like one of those things because we see those a lot now.
It's kind of cool. The reason I don't think it's a toy is because it would be kind of dumb. I mean, this crowd is huge, thousands of people.
25,000 people. That's
so
a
to
mob.
be flying a toy over a mob of 25,000 people. I mean, these are angry people who are mad at Putin because they think he cheated on the elections.
Mm.
So I don't think, but it would make total sense that, you know, in order to get a scope of how big this crowd is, the police would send a drone over. And you know, on your story, it's funny, separately, Jason wrote a story, and so did I for UFO Daily News, but we had similar thoughts because we put up pictures of drones. And in one of the drones I had, it has a circle very similar to what they see. The difference is it doesn't have a long fuselage. I think the video is really cool, though. Even if it's a drone, you know, that stuff's kind of cool, too, to see one flying around up there because it's got blinking lights. Mm-hmm. It's hovering and flying around up there. And it looks more sophisticated than just your standard remote control, especially in Russia where they really aren't like out here, you know. They still struggle economically and stuff. They have been for a while, where we've got all kinds of wonderful toys, but we still complain about everything. But
and, you know, this object does appear to be, you know, over the crowd observing, mm-hmm. and that's precisely what police use these drones for.
Yeah.
So
I think that would be the only way. I can just think as a police officer, how would you understand where all the people are in the scope of this crowd without something like that? So, you know, it'd be vital for them. And now they have the technology. So I tried to look up drones in Russia, and I couldn't find anything, just what we found. The UK has a lot, the smaller ones, like the pictures we posted. But the ones in America, by the American police, those are more like elaborate remote control helicopters.
Yeah.
But they look a lot more elaborate and expensive.
Yeah,
which is typical for
like
America.
The remote control helicopters, and they're also a smaller scale of like the military drones that are like small jets.
Exactly. I mean, they're cool. They're big and elaborate, and they're really cool.
Yep. Well, in other news, I have statistic here. This is kind of fun. A third of New Zealanders believe aliens have visited Earth. A third.
Yeah.
Not just UFOs. They don't just believe in UFOs. They believe aliens have visited Earth. Perhaps even more surprising, at least to me, is that the number of believers is greater, or actually greatest, among the 30 to 44-year-olds at 36%.
Wow.
Only 26% of those aged 60 and older believe we've been visited.
People are most intelligent between those years, too. 33 and, 40 years old?
30 and 44.
Yeah. That's your peak of intelligence.
You're only saying that because you fall into that category.
Well, that's how I know from experience.
And so I will talk to you when you're 60, and I think you will change your view to the 60 and older category.
Probably either that or I'll be like, what? What's your name?
I think that's right. Well, Alejandro, that is all for the news today. Remember, you can check out all of these stories and so many more at openminds.tv, your source for UFO-related news. And if you have a comment about any of these stories or you'd like to share your own story, feel free to email me at jason@openminds.tv. You can contact me on Facebook, Jason Open Minds, and I'm also on Twitter at Acentric. That's ACECENTRIC. That is it for the news. I am Jason McClellan, your Open Minds news correspondent, and you've just been briefed.